What do I have to press to move on with the slide? Good evening, everybody. Thank you to all the people from the university, in particular to Professor Vigna for organizing this meeting. Thank you to Professor Ratti. And I apologize to those who are more experienced in the field, because I will use a quite simple language, since this meeting is also attended on a web conference by people who are not that experienced. So I will try to give a general overview in a logical way of the situation faced with the cancer and how to overcome an obstacle, regardless the knowledge, the current knowledge we could have. That is every researcher's task, to tackle a problem and to try to solve it, to set an objective. Our objective is to reduce death rate for cancers. So from a technical point of view, we need to take technical decisions to achieve this objective. I left Dallas to get here, and I went through a sequence of actions, and each action was to overcome an obstacle, to go to Detroit, to Amsterdam, and then to get here. So researchers with data, next slide. As if we have data showing us that the expenditure continues to increase, and the forecast is to move from 7 million victims today to 17 million victims in 20 years, the future is not that bright. So we need to take urgent action, and we need to understand and make a comparison of cancer compared to other causes of death. And I have taken into consideration an age group until 64 years old. The average life expectancy for men is 76 years old, and the one for women is 80 years old. So in the age group I have taken into consideration is people from 45 to 64 years old. Dying from cancer, 130,000 people in the United States, compared to 100,000 people dying from heart disease. What is cancer? It is a mutation of body cells, a division of normal cells, and a ratio between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. When a damaged cell is generated, it becomes apoptosis, and it should be eliminated by the body. But if this does not occur, there is a division of cancerous cells, which have a rapid rate of division compared to the normal cells, and the cancerous cells need higher, more nutrients. So what is the cause of cancer? We know that the causes are various: hereditary, smoking, other reasons. We have many information as for the causes leading to cancer, but no one can state that is the recipe. If you follow this recipe, if you walk in the mountains every day, if you practice exercise, if you eat broccoli or red pepper, then you won't develop cancer. That is not true. There are people who are following healthy diet and who are not smoking, and these people could be affected by cancer. So since we do not have a sure recipe, the only recipe is to monitor. But when cancer develops, then we need to timely intervene. So So how has the cancer calamity been addressed? First of all, let's have a look at the main killers and let's analyze data among victims. We know that bronchus and lungs are ranked first. Out of 100,000 people, 75,000 people die from lung and bronchus cancer. So there is very low survival. Prostate, the incidence is high, but with a high survival, so less people are dying compared to people dying from lung cancers. Then breast and colon rectum follow. Then you find all the other kinds of cancers. So on the one hand we have this problem that is early death, early mortality. How did we tackle this problem? A huge money. Over the last 50 years, the cost of cancer has increased by 100 times. If you buy a banana, eggs, that of course a difference between Europe and the United States, but the price gap is 4 or 5 times different, not more than that. I've asked the cost of a banana 50 years ago and today. So how did we manage to have such a big increase for cancer costs, whereas this increase has not occurred as for food? And we have not achieved big results considering all the money spent on cancer. That is Clifton Leaf, the ex-director of Fortune magazine, one of the most famous magazines in the United States. In 1985, this magazine published an article, and on the cover we found the title "Cancer Breakthrough." And we said we found it was saying we have the miracle cure, the miracle drug. 20 years afterwards, in 2004, the author who was affected by cancer realized that this was not true, because you see the trend that Vinya has just shown you, the flat trend. Whereas the trend for heart diseases, the results are good today because the death rate for heart diseases has reduced. So you see that the death rate for cancer was 23% in 2007 and 19.2% in 1975. This is Clifton Leaf's slide, Fortune magazine in 2004, who made this remark: we spent so much money, we were disillusioned by these non-existing miracle cures that did not lead to any result. So how do we have to address cancer calamity? These are some figures of data published on Fortune magazine by Clifton Leaf. You see yellow is prostate, then you find breast, colon, rectum and lung. Localized means that there was an early diagnosis that is localized. Distant, it means that there's metastasis. So you see that for these 3 kinds of cancers, survival goes from 90 to 98%, whereas if there is not an early detection, survival rate reduces. I'm working as a scientist, and I do generally prefer to understand the roots of problems, and I went to the Institute of Surveillance, Epidemiology and Results, and I analyzed results for a colon, rectum, then the ones for lung, prostate and breast ones. then I drew from data you cannot read there because it's too small, but you can find information on the link of the website. And you see that for those kinds of cancers, if there is an early diagnosis, there is almost 100% survival for prostate, 98% for breast, colon, rectum 89%, and 50% for lung cancer. If there is a late diagnosis, then these percentages changes: 31, 27, 10 and 2.8%. Let's see now the early diagnosis cases. You see that there is a good possibility to make a diagnosis for prostate, breast, colon, rectum. There is no possibility to diagnose lung cancer in an early stage. If lung cancer is diagnosed late, then the 51% of lung cancer is diagnosed late, and for this reason the death rate for lung cancer is quite high. So we know that early diagnosis is working, but research over the last 10 years has only focused on drugs.